and welcome. Today we want to talk about the Guna checkbox control. So the checkbox control is a control which allows you to toggle it between a checked and unchecked state. So how do we use the Guna checkbox control? The first step is to simply drag it from the toolbox right onto the WinForm. And out of the box, these are the features that we have. If you see to the right, under the Features tab, Properties tab, you can see that the checkbox allows you to toggle between the animation property, and by default it is set to false. So before we make any customization, let's run the project and let's see what we have out of the box. So let's give Visual Studio a moment to build and run. Right, so what do we have? This is the default color, and when I click, you can see it applies a check mark and the background is changed to a shade of blue slate. So out of the box, this is the design that we have for the checkbox. So what customizations can we make? Let's see. We're going to start by making the checkbox animated, and then we see what changes, because by default it's not animated. So I've changed the animated property to true, and let's run the project to see what we get. As you can see, the check and unchecked states are animated. These states are animated, and how the check mark appears is also animated. The checkbox control allows you to make some customizations which you can make to suit the theme and overall look and feel of your application. So let's see what we can do. We can apply a border to the checkbox, but let's first talk about the unchecked state, the checked state, then we'll talk about the border style. So the unchecked state category, as you can see there, represents a group of properties which can be applied and will be displayed when the checkbox is in an unchecked state. So this category represents a group of properties or features that will be applied when the checkbox is unchecked. By default, these are the values that we have. So let's try to change them to, let's say, fill color, it's white. The border color is black, and as you can see, the border is not applied because the border thickness by default is set to 0. So let's change it to 1. There you have it. We can also change the border radius, let's say 3, and there you have it. It's a circular checkbox, almost in appearance like a radio button. So let's revert the border radius of the unchecked state to 0 to make it a complete square. Let's change the checked state. So the checked state represents a group of features or properties that will be applied when the checkbox is in a checked state. So let's change the fill color of the checked state to a variant of blue, and I'm going to choose the hot track. And let's change the border color to hot track, the fill color to hot track as well. Let's run our application and see how the checkbox will appear while checked and unchecked. So when the checkbox is unchecked, the border is black and the fill color is white, but when checked, the back color or fill color is hot track, a shade of blue, and the check mark is white. Let's try to change the fill color from hot track to black, and let's see what we get. So let's scroll down to checked state. Let's change the fill color to black, and let's change the border color to black. Let's save the project and let's run to see what we get. There you go. The fill color changes to black. The fill color changes from blue to black according to the customizations that we've made. And as it is animated, you can see the animation between the unchecked state and the checked state. Right. So remember, the unchecked state is a group of properties which are applied when the checkbox is unchecked, and the checked state, a group of properties applied when the checkbox is checked. So the border style by default is solid. We can change this to dash, and you can see that the border is changed. Let's try to increase the border size so that we can see better. By default, the thickness is 1 pixel. Let's change it to 2. There you can see the border style has changed from solid to dash, and we can also make it dot and so forth. Let's run and see what we get. There you go. Let's check. The fill color is a full solid black color. Uncheck, and then it reverts to its unchecked state. So this is how we can interact and use the checkbox. So I would like to show you guys how we can manipulate this checkbox in code. By default is unchecked, but we like to make it checked when the form loads. So the checked is equals to true. We are basically saying that the checkbox, checked status or checked feature or property should be set to true when the form loads. Let's see if that will be applied when the form loads. There you go. So it's possible to set the checkbox status in code, which will be applied at runtime. So these are the features that we have for the Guna checkbox, and feel free to play around with these features. We can manipulate them in code as well. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.